how does the mindset coaching fit into buying businesses, improving them, all of that? What are some of the major levers that you typically end up pulling in the businesses you buy? Is it the operations, marketing, sales? What are the levers? Austin, thank you so much for hopping on. I'll just start with the basic question. What do you do?
Mhm. Oof, that's rough. What day of the week is it? And that's mainly the question, but the quick and dirty of it is we're in real estate. I'm a coach, a mindset coach, and then we buy businesses, and then we also do construction.
Interesting. How does the mindset coaching fit into buying businesses, improving them, all of that?
So I actually did that before anything else. The mindset coaching has helped me because you're coaching your employees, you're coaching your management, you're coaching, everybody really. So it's kind of an extension, but at a bigger scale, right? You can coach more people than a one-on-one coach can do. So I enjoy the amount of impact that we can create from it.
Interesting. And as part of your, so it's a holding company. Is it similar to a holding company? What you do?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What are some of the major levers that you typically end up pulling in the businesses you buy? Is it the operations, marketing, sales? What are the levers?
To be honest with you, if you're looking at it from an overall point of view, is urgency.
Hmm.
Like I find a lot of people, especially if a business has been running for a long time, they rest a lot on their laurels, but more importantly, just aren't aggressive with billing, with marketing, with being in the community, going to community events. Like they're just it's more of an overall culture shift of like, hey, let's create exciting ways how we can incentivize the team and create urgency right in the business, and that trickles down to the marketing, that trickles down to the sales, that trickles down to the mindset, and then obviously you know uh, a proper website, marketing, but understanding the community and understanding what they're gonna like. We're in a small town. I can't run a lot of ads here because they're not really like an ad community. It's more of like organic, hand-to-hand community referral driven. And so understanding your audience is super important too.
Interesting. And how do the dynamics of being in a small town and then you buy a business? There will be significant dynamics shifts, right, in a small
Yes.
town. How do those work once you buy a business?
Well, one of the smartest things I did is I hired local people who are born and raised here, who can speak on who I am and what I stand for. That has helped bridge the gap as being an out of towner.
Oh, you were out of town. I thought you were born and brought up here and you were just buying business.
No, and they don't take too kindly
Oh.
to, so, but having people like the Chamber of Commerce, like people on my side, my HR director who's born and raised, everybody knows her. She vouches for me. It's easy for me to get indoctrinated into the community.
Hmm, interesting. Are you buying businesses in a specific city right now, or are you just like across America?
Right now we're here, but the plan is to grow nationally. But we're going to control the immediate market and focus on what we have going on right now for now.
Interesting. One more question I had is when people are starting their businesses, 2 years, 3 years, maybe 5 years into the journey, they are very driven about growth. They want growth, but
Mm-hmm.
sometime down the road, complacency sets in.
Yeah.
What are some of the reasons for that? What is the point where you realize most businesses complacent with their growth?
There's, there's a couple different reasons. One, your dreams and your goals aren't big enough, so you get complacent in those. The second is that you truly love what you're doing.
Hmm.
Maybe you thought it is what you're doing, but I have no problem waking up and being fired up every day because the goals are ridiculously big. What I'm doing, I love. I think you have to know a lot of visionaries are super creative, but they also mess with a lot of the operations of the business because they always want to be tweaking. And so if that's you, then maybe you need to go start your own little side hustle that keep yourself occupied with that, but let the business do what the business does.
Hmm. Interesting. And how do all these businesses tie in into each other? So you have HVAC, real estate, and construction. Real estate
Mhm.
construction makes sense. How does the HVAC tie into everything?
Well, I mean, the HVAC and the plumbing is actually the more driver of the business. The construction was added afterwards
Hmm.
because so many people were asking for it. And so if they only have to make one phone call, then it's so much easier than them. You know, that's the biggest issue right now is it's super hard to find people that you trust that show up, etc. So it's just a natural progression for us. Um, what what I found is that we love development, real estate, construction, and so it's an easy way for us to have control of keeping ourselves busy during slow times by generating more demand, either we're building or what we're doing over there in those times that we're low, so we can kind of be our own stir of the pot for sales.
Hmm. Interesting. And hmm, did you jump from coaching directly into buying businesses, or was there an intermediary where you ran your
No,
own?
I actually did Airbnb for 7 years all across
Oh,
the country. So hotels, I've coached it, etc. That's where I started my real estate career was Airbnb.
interesting. And are you still operating all your Airbnbs, or is it now? Oh,
You know, we're doing some large scale flips and stuff. I handed over that business to my business partner. He was building that company for his family and his sister and giving them a place to work. And for me, I was more focused on the business stuff. So we went and did this, and we still use him for real estate in that aspect. But for me, I was done after 7 years. I was just done in the day to day of that. So I don't really, I'll always own them, but to be directly involved in them, I'm good.
hmm,
Yeah.
interesting. And you are basically the definition of a serial entrepreneur. So what drives you?
Yeah.
What drives you?
Impact. I mean, creating, expanding people's minds, giving them a place to work. They're inspired, teaching them every day, learning. Um, for me, what I realize is like a lot of people, they're not uninspired. They're not, they don't not want to do better. They just don't have people that believe in them or invest in them enough to create a wind, right? Meaning like information is out there on YouTube and it's podcasts and it's books and it's everywhere. But I think you need a community or a company or a mastermind or a group of people that are committed to the same thing to hold each other accountable, that are going to push you forward. And I think that helps because free all day long, there's tons of free stuff out there. But if it's free, people don't pay attention. And so having your friend grow with you uh, creates that kind of win-win mentality.
Very, very interesting. You are buying businesses which are operationally heavy. So preferred
Mhm,
mostly for the HVAC, right?
mhm.
How does the acquisition and transition work when you are maybe a one-person business and you are selling it? How does all of that work? Is it very difficult?
It's a lot of moving parts. I would say um, I know enough business and I know enough sales to get the job done. What if I had to go back and do it again? I think I wouldn't underestimate
Hmm.
the technical side of the sales, right? Because the technology is always changing. When you're in a customer's home, you know, why does that pipe lean that way? And what's the, you know, there's a lot of like technical jargon and we're training up a sales guy right now. Um, it's a lot. Like he could tell you like there's a lot of information. And you're talking about guys that work for us that have been doing this 30, 35 years.
Hmm.
And so they know a lot. And so putting them in a position to be more of a teacher than a doer is kind of a game changer for us to kind of spread that knowledge out to the younger guys.
Hmm. Interesting. Technical bits of the sales process. Can you talk a little bit about that? Like,
Okay. Like perfect example, like, do you know what a sear is?
no, I don't.
Okay, exactly. It's a sear is a type of motor that's in an HVAC, depending on here's how it gets crazy.
Yeah.
So you can actually overpower your AC to where there's too much water condenser. And so you can't just go, oh, we're going to go with the biggest AC because it's too much for the area. Then it backs up the unit and then the water starts dripping. So you can't, you have to know the perfect blow, percentage of air that's pushing through the house, because you can't over it and you can't under it. So it has to be perfect. There's so, like, I could go on for days about like the different stuff. You can't just put some random unit in there. Right. And then we do stuff that's like $3 million. So we're doing like large scale commercial. Like, dude, that shit's crazy, man. Like, like this duck and this thing and this unit, and yeah, it's crazy, man. There's a lot of stuff, but lucky enough, I have surrounded myself with a lot of people who have been in the space 20 plus years. And so I know the people and the business part of it, and they know the knowledge part of it.
Interesting. Yeah. When you mentioned technology behind sales, I thought you were talking about Google Ads conversion, all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I'm talking about like real, like
Real
straight
technology.
up real technology. Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
No, my business partner has done 85 million in ads. So no, we don't. Here's what's crazy is I don't even need ads for where I'm at, because it's 100% referral for this company.
Interesting. So, home services, there are on Twitter, there are lots of threads about starting your own remote home services businesses. You can just hire
Mm-hmm.
contractors, subcontractors, all that
Mm-hmm.
movement. What are your thoughts on it? What do you think?
Well, I think the hardest thing is, do they represent who you are though? Like, my values and my standards and my performance are super high because they work for me and it's been stated ahead of time. But if that person is a subcontractor for you, they don't really have a tie to do it. Now, that being said, I did see a $10 million HVAC company that was for sale for 10 million that only had 5 employees and 8 subcontracting crews. So it can be done if you have the right subcontractor crews, but that's a rough business for sure. The thing is like, my philosophy, my theory is that there's amazing plumbers and HVAC and electricians and welders that love what they do, but they don't know business, or they don't like business. And so if we can provide the business part for them, then they can just go do what they love. And that's kind of the premise that we're working off of.
Interesting. So these technicians, they many times lack the business expertise, and you bring in their business
Yeah,
expertise.
1000%. They've only started a business because they hate their boss.
Mm.
They didn't really want to get into the sales, the marketing. And so we can handle the back of the house and the operations and the bookkeeping and all that stuff and the marketing. And we're really good operators too. But yeah, they just go do what they do best, right?
Interesting. Makes sense. One of the last questions, because I know you are out of kind of time. Um, when you're working with blue collar jobs, when you're working with things which are to be done in person, that is a different type of business than what
Yes.
we see online on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
How in what ways is it different? What are the stark contrasts between?
Well, it's very simple. I don't care if they went to college or didn't go to college. They know people better than you've ever seen.
Hmm.
And pardon my French, they smell BS a mile away. And so you have to understand that you have to speak to them on a level where they might not know the technical aspect, but they know people and they know how to get the job done. And so one of the greatest things that ever happened to me was, my dad was a doctor and we grew up in a really nice neighborhood in Houston. Well, when my parents divorced when I was 17, I moved out to where my parents were raised, which is the country.
Hmm.
So I went from 4,200 kids in my school to 250. And it was the greatest lesson of my life because I got to see both sides of the coin. I got to see the country, the blue collar, and then I got to see the fancy. And I think it's been my greatest gift, is to be able to move between both worlds. One of the things I do, I know it sounds ridiculous, I don't ever wear slacks
Hmm.
to this job, because that's not who they are. That's not how they roll. And so I don't want to ever be viewed as somebody that's lording over them. I want to be one of them. So I wear jeans and I wear boots and I drive a big truck. don't get me wrong, I'm not doing that to show off or whatever, but it's just knowing where you are and reading the room and trying not to be above people, because my vendors, my suppliers, my vendors, my people that work for me, my CFO, my banker, they're my partners. They don't work for me. They're my partners. Same as my employees. They're my partners. I'm not the boss. We are only successful because they're out there doing it all day. I can't be everywhere. And so when you look at it from that, I work for them. They don't work for me.
Interesting. That's a very beautiful note to end on. Are there any closing words? Anything you would like to, any messages?
You will learn more in the act of doing than you will in the act of learning. So just go out there and do.
Awesome. Austin, thank you so much for your time. Really quick
Yeah.
15 minutes. Thanks so much for that.